Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would knock out a quick video for you guys, and this is just giving 4 extremely common examples of heads of muscles that may get neglected doing just our big compound movements. And so this is stuff that we need to think about, and again, I'm not saying we have to think about it. I want to be clear, this is purely for people who are trying to maximize their development. And if you're looking to have a certain look, or you want kind of that classic aesthetic look, which I've been slowly working on at this point, again, coming from a strength training background, this is stuff I personally have to address, right? I have a powerlifting background, so I have many of these extremely common imbalances, right? The stuff that you would expect from someone who puts most of their focus in squat, bench, deadlift, pull-ups, rows, things like that, right? That has historically been much of my focus, even though I've done tons of obviously hypertrophy work. We're going to have certain heads of muscles that are going to be prone to lagging if we build our base off of this. And it's not to say that we can't build a tremendous base, right? We absolutely can. But if you look at the few movements I'm doing here, and these are not the only ones, but these are extremely common ones. All right, you'll see me in this video doing some skull crushers. All right, for my triceps, you'll see me doing some plate lateral raises. I'm doing leg extensions, and I'm doing seated calf raises. Okay, so what's going on with these? Why am I doing these movements? And notice, of course, I didn't throw a hamstring thing in here. I should probably talk about hamstrings, but that's a separate video. But I feel like hamstrings are not always the issue, because if we have a strength background, we usually hammer our hamstrings into the ground. But think about these 4 movements and what muscles they target specifically. All right, the first one's very easy with the skull crusher. What does it work? Long head of the tricep. Now, obviously, it works the entire tricep. In fact, I would almost say that an extension like that is a very balanced tricep exercise. Whereas in something maybe behind the head might be a little more biased towards the long head, but I personally, at least at this time, don't find those particularly comfortable on my shoulders, so I don't do them. But the point is hammering that long head. So why? Because benching doesn't build the long head of the tricep particularly well. It does build it, but it doesn't seem to be biased. There's been definitely studies on it that have found that it causes considerably more growth in the lateral head of the tricep than the long head. The long head's the biggest head in the tricep. It's the one that's most visually noticeable. I can't talk today. I'm just going to leave that in. Especially from the side, from the back. That's what people really notice on that tricep hang. Now from the front, that lateral head can really pop out. Okay, but this is a perfect example. All right, doing some extensions for that if you've been using benching as a primary tricep builder, or press, even close grip benching. Right, it can make a big difference in terms of just your overall muscle balance, right? Right up there near the top. All right, the plate laterals. I like lateral raises, and the reason I like lateral raises is because they're just an all-around great delt builder, and they're very easy on our recovery. Okay, we very rarely get beat up. We don't get fatigued from doing laterals. In fact, I feel like laterals are something you can get away with doing almost every day. If you really, really wanted to. They just don't beat us up. The fatigue is very, very low. But when you look at what they do, the stimulus is very high. And it doesn't have to be plates. It could be dumbbells. It could be cables. Right? The idea is the same. All right. So what am I doing with those? I'm focusing a lot on the lateral head, the side head of the delt. Why? It gets neglected a bit. Am I saying it doesn't grow? No. Incline bench will help build it. Rowing will help build it. Pull-ups can help build it. But where is more of their focus? Right? Most of your chest pressing is obviously very anterior delt dominant. In fact, I would say like incline benching, which is an extremely common supplemental lift for the bench press, is arguably one of the best interior deltoid builders of all time. And it will contribute some to the lateral head, right? Pull-ups, rows, phenomenal for the posterior head of the delt. There's some data that suggests that that rowing can carry over quite a bit to the lateral head. But if you're really trying to make that lateral head bigger and make it pop, which is going to give you that capped look from the front, that side head could use a little bit of extra tension. Stuff like laterals can hammer that. They can really focus on that. And keeping in mind that that head doesn't get worked as much as you start going really high, or if you lean back too much. So if you're leaning forward here and you focus on the bottom half of the movement, that's really what's going to hit that area very effectively. Okay? But again, gets hit this way, right? It could use the extra work. All right, the lower body stuff. Leg extensions. And I used to be very against leg extensions. I think people are shocked that I'm promoting them now. Hey guys, we evolve. We evolve. We have to evolve. All right, the rectus femoris gets understimulated on the squats. It's one of the 4 quad heads. Okay, one of the 4. The other 3 on deep squats get worked. And squats, let's carry that over to lunges, split squats, leg presses, squat pattern movements. Build the quads pretty effectively, but they also really, I mean, the squat in data has really found that it's almost a better adductor and glute exercise. It still builds quads. Do not get me wrong. It's still a great quad exercise, but doesn't particularly stimulate one of the 4 quad heads. The leg extension does. So let's come back over. If you are in the pursuit of more complete quadricep development, doing some leg extensions. And I've seen other people say, well, what about sissy squats? I don't know that they do the same job. I don't think that they do. You choose to do them, do them. I'm not telling you not to. I'm simply saying there is something to be said for a leg extension for that final bit of development. Okay? Again, just don't beat your knees up on it. It's not a power movement. Don't try to max out on it. And then finally, I'm doing seated calf raises. Why? The soleus. Soleus is often an afterthought with calves. It is not as pronounced as the gastrocnemius. Gastrocnemius is obviously developed by standing movements. Even squatting has been shown to recruit it pretty effectively. But the soleus is, again, that lower half, the smaller head underneath it that goes all the way, it attaches to the Achilles tendon. That requires us to have a bent knee position to fully activate. So if you're trying to develop the best calves possible, finding a way to do seated calf raises. I mean, you see me there just doing it makeshift with benches and plates. It can be done. I have to do 50+ rep sets, but it can be done. Again, you can finish that muscle off. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.